And welcome to Season 5 quarterfinals. We have Oracle versus Cynic. We have Ward on the night getting a very quick first down on Angels over by Main as we are on Suffocation Pit 2 and choosing to hook middle of the map as we have these upcoming sets with Knight, Unknown and Wesker. And we have a very typical standard build from Ward with Undying, Ruin, Corrupt and Pain Res, which Corrupt has already expired as Angels is sitting there marinating on hook. And a very, very quick start for Ward, who has already got his first hook, sees a Quinton Ultra lurking over there. And it looks like the guard has also found someone lusty over in the corner. As we are proxying this hook. Saying hello to the survivor standing right in their face. Just making sure absolutely no one is coming for this rescue. Which is kind of a pretty rough start for Team Cynic. As it looks like we are going to let and watch Angels hit second. As we are still at 5 gens, as there we go, he does hit second on the hook. But we do get our first gen popping. As the second gen flies as well. As Wancy, the Lara, is currently being chased by a Knight, which we are going over to investigate but not committing, as we see someone going for the unhook on Angels, and I believe that is Ultra getting the unhook, and now we will be looking to tunnel out Angels at 3 gens, which is a typical, pretty standard, a very long, nice Knight placement there, as we see Angels just buying time up on the hill. Still up on the hill, and yeah, it does get tagged by the guard, who is now in chase. And we see Ward just committing to the double team on Angels as he does go down, and this will be the first kill of the game at 3 gens. Getting the pain res as well, which we do hear go off on Ace's gen, which was over behind Main, who does well to avoid the guard. Lusty. As we do go over to the gen, just trying to see where he went, and we do get some aura read in there. I believe that's from Hex Undying, seeing our Ace making his way towards Shack. As we do see Ultra there on the mid gen. As, look at that Undying value. Given free aura on Lusty. I wonder if he had any idea, because it does give you a notification saying you are being picked up by the Hex Undying, as we see him getting double teamed here into the corner. I don't think he's going to last the guard, but he does last the guard and ends up taking a hit from the Knight, as we see him try and zone by placing a Knight in front of his path, preventing him from making his way to Shack, but he does pass the guard, who patrols back, as we do leave the Ace for another time and see the Lara making her way round, as the 3rd gen has been popped by our survivors here, as we do go back onto the Ace with a cheeky mind game on the Godfiller, which Ace does not fall for, so we go to leave and find ourselves a Lara at main, who does Vault back, very nicely done. To prevent a hit from now, but then does take one. Going towards main as that ace does greed the gen in mid to get it popped. But what consequence will that have for our ace, as I believe he's going to be in trouble at Shack here as he tries to buy as much time as possible. But he's going to go down in the end by the corner from the patrol guard. As this will be our 4th and 2nd fresh hook of the game onto Lusty, also Pain Riz, to try and stop that last gen getting popped, which I believe was fairly close. As we do see a bit of a free gen over at main. Also by the Ruin, which is still up and active, which is doing a lot of work for Ward here on the night. As we end up vaulting to try and catch the Lara off guard, doesn't fall for it, and is just using main to our full advantage. As we do see Ruin get cleansed in the background from Ultra. And we're just going to see Ward trying to prevent our survivors from making their way towards Lusty on the hook, trying to confirm the 2nd hook stage on the ace. As we are not committing just yet to a survivor, but we do see that Lusty does end up going 2nd stage. As we are just sort of keeping tabs on our Lara, stopping her from getting the unhook. And we do catch Quentin with the patrol guard, which will stop him pressuring that gen over the other side of main, as we do get hit onto Wancy, who will not be going for the unhook. A bit of a tough spot for our survivors, a very tough spot now, as Wancy does go down, and we see Ultra making it to the unhook. Also getting rid of the guard, as when you unhook a survivor, the guard does go away as well. And opting to leave Wancy on the floor. No, it looks like we're going back wherever she is to pick her up. Definitely to get that pain res stack, as there is a hook just by main to really slow down that gen progress of this last gen getting popped. So the survivors are in a bit of a tough spot at the moment, with Ace still injured and Wancy being hooked in the middle of all the gens, really, which is kind of still a 3-gen on this bit of main, which may come back to haunt our survivors if this result does not go their way, as we do see Ultra getting tagged by one of the patrol guards in the distance. And yeah, for Ward it's pretty plain and simple what to do here. He can patrol the gens with his guards and also prevent the unhooks while keeping these gens regressing. Unfortunately, Ruin did get cleansed earlier, which would have made this an even more disgusting scenario for our survivors to be in, but it looks like he is just gonna do his best to keep the gem progress down and prevent survivors from getting on the gens. It looks like Ultra here is going to end up getting hit by this guard. Never mind. Ward comes over to finish the job, as we see him being down in the corner, and we do see Ace at the hook, who is definitely, yep, he lets the guard see him and then gets the unhook just to pull the guard away, as we see these two running for the hills. and trying to prevent this slug from Ward being effective, as he chooses not to commit to Wancy. I think just trying to stop Lusty from picking up Ultra to prevent them all being up and able to pressure those gens, as one of the guards does spot Ace, so he is going to have to keep running around or keep looping, which means he won't be able to go pick up Ultra, which means that... Oh, is that unbreakable? Or... No, the Lara did come over to pick up Ultra, which is very, very well done, not being seen by the Knight, but unfortunately he knows his game sense. Ward's game sense there was very, very on point to know that the Lara was still lurking around in those corners and that she hadn't escaped, as he chooses to pick Wancy here, which I believe will be the second kill for Ward at 1 gen. So now we just have 2 survivors left, both injured, with a goal really just to try and pop that final gen to make the win con a little bit more challenging for our survivors in the reverse fixture. As Ward's objectives and style of play... Oh, and we see Ultra get taken down by the guard. And I'm sure for those of you that have played or are very familiar with the Knight, you know that some of his... I forget which guard it is very, very fast and hard to avoid, as I think we're going to see our end result here, with both survivors going down to those guards, unfortunately. But very well played from Ward. I think our survivors are probably going to regret their gen split and the way they went about these doing these gens, because that 3 gen at the end really did cause a lot of issues and made Ward's job a lot easier, as we see the Mori with the new Witcher Knight skin, one of the best skins in the game, but that's subjective. So stick around and we'll be back for the next part of this game. And welcome back to the reverse fixture, where we have Angels on the Knight, looking to take this first set win with, I believe, a 4k1, which will give us, or which will give Cynic the win here, as we see Ward over at Shack on the Maria, looping the guard, the Knight, in a circle, which I've not seen before, but does get the stun on the Knight, on Angels, as there goes Shack at 5, which is not something you'll be seeing in your public games, but this is not public games, this is the quarterfinals of Season 5, where we have Angels from Cynic going up against our survivors on Team Oracle. As we do get quite a lot of information there, seeing Ace and the Kate up at main. As we see the same build as well from Angels that Ward had. And we do see Corrupt getting a bit more value than Ward did have with his insta first down, which some would argue could be better or worse, but we see the patrol guard finding our injured Maria, who is in trouble, looking like she is going to be chased by 2 people. And does get downed just as our Corrupt is about to run out. Very good timing. And this looks like it's going to be our first hook, and the pain res from Angels, which looks like it did get mid-gen, maybe? Or that could just be Ruin. Oh no, Ruin has been cleansed already. Which is not a good sign from our knight, as Ward did get his Ruin to last for, I believe, 4 gens, but we see Blazy there taking a slap from the guard, but does get the unhook onto Ward before he goes second. But this is looking rough for Ward, as, ooh, I think his endurance just ran out there as he tried to take the hit from the knight, I believe, to get away, but I think 1 second too late, and we see him go back onto the hook as we see the first gen of this game pop up there in the distance. And oh, the guard does not spot Nancy there on the gen, who looked like she did not care that that guard was there, and she does end up popping the gen. Or maybe it wasn't that gen, I don't think, as the knight did send out a guard to kick that gen. As we see, oh, as we spot a Nancy edge map, who does take a hit, and Blazy also takes a hit from the guard. Wow, very, very efficient from Angels, being able to get 2 health states in 2 different places. As we see a guard going up on the hill, I believe that's just to ensure that someone does get tagged, and unfortunately it is Ward, but learning from his mistakes does just instantly take the hit, as he does have endurance to get that speed boost and to stop the essentially the double team from the knight and the guard, as he is in a very rough situation, but he's managing to loop 2 people at the same time as the guard goes round one way and Angels goes round the other and isn't spotted. Oh, but he does end up getting spotted by the guard Ward, which is unfortunate. Oh, but we see V1 trying to take a hit, and it's just 1 second too late to take that hit for Ward, who ends up going down. And we see V1 here just taking a hit. Unfortunate. Will we slug, or will we? No. As I thought, we will go back to secure the first kill at 3 gens popped. So it's not looking good for Angels, as we see another gen in the distance pop. And oh, you can hear someone going there. As we see Derice in trouble. There's just not many options you can do there, apart from going down, really, against the knight in that situation. As we are gonna look to slug because of the wing con. We need to stop that last gen from being popped, as Angels is at a pretty rough spot at the moment. He needs a lot of pressure, which he is managing to get as he finds Blazy over at this TNL, who's just looking to get as much distance as possible, as he has been found by the guard and is now being chased by 2 people. And there's that speedy guard coming in to down Blazy, but meanwhile V1 has managed to pick up Derice, but there goes our second fresh hook for Cynic, as this game has taken a bit of a similar run to the reverse fixture in terms of the way it's panned out. I'm not sure where the gens are, but it doesn't seem like... Oh, it seems like they have also given Angels a 3 gen over on this side. which must be something that they've agreed to do and that they feel isn't as valuable as maybe against some other killers. I'm not sure, but we will see as V1 does get spotted there by a guard, and it looks like, yeah, we're just going to be proxying that hook, trying to ensure Blazy does hit second and hopefully never get unhooked, but he does get unhooked before hitting second. As DeRice gets spotted by a guard as well, but it looks like, who are we committing to? We are going after the ace, who I believe doesn't make anything from this tile, no, and is going to go down again and go on to second hook. Over in the distance, still only one pain res though, which I believe was on ward. So that could be down to just the RNG really of the pain res hooks, which can either work for you or against you really, but it's such a strong perk. 20% off a generator is something that you can't pass up. As we do see scratch marks heading over to Blazy on hook, and it is V1 over there trying to get the unhook really. But with no ruin, no real way to regress the gens, but he has managed to hook Blazy over near the gens. And we do see both survivors in an attempt to save Blazy, as unfortunately DeRice does get hit from the guard, so it's looking like it's either going to be a trade or we're going to be seeing bon voyage to Blazy as V1 steps in to take the trade, and we will be going after Blazy to confirm that second kill at 1 gen remaining. As the guard does its duty, spots Ace, who is going over to Shaq, which has already been and gone. As this is just an inevitable down for Blazy, unfortunate. And this is going to be our second kill. Also getting that pain res very valuable for Angels, and this is going to be a close one for the first set, as we see V1 able to get reset, and Angels does have an idea of where they have taken this reset to, as there are scratch marks, and we see a Nancy crouching, trying to avoid the guard, but does end up getting spotted, and it's going to be another down for these guards that are putting in work for Angels at the moment. Now it's a case of where is V1, and I'm sure we all saw that pink hair hiding in the distance, which isn't the most camouflage outfit I've ever seen, but the pants are camouflage, it's just the hair sticks out like a sore thumb, so this is looking very, very rough for Oracle, as V1 does get spotted by a guard, and it looks like Angels might be going for the pain res pickup, although there isn't a pain res near, just choosing to hook as he knows exactly where V1 is, because he is still being chased by this guard, which has lasted an awfully long time. And yeah, that happened. And just for good measure, there goes the pain res, which I believe didn't go down on my screen, which is strange because that was a pain res hook, but now we have that awkward time of waiting for the hooks. Just people just AFKing really. As we see that, which I believe is not allowed. Which I believe we'll have to get the referee on that one, because that may or may not have just given given someone the win, as I believe that could be a penalty, or it may or may not be. But we'll be back shortly to conclude this first set and move on to the unknown, which I believe is on Greenville Square. So stick with us, and we will be back after a short break. And welcome back to our second set of this 3-part series, or quarterfinals, that we see Angels on the unknown on Greenville Square, opting for Corrupt, Pain Res, Eruption, and Agi. And just to confirm, the first set was a tie, so we will be going to another set after this one, no matter the outcome, as we see Derice, and Angels getting 2 very nice UVXs off onto Derice in main, who does manage to dodge his 3rd UVX, which 3 out of 3 UVX from Angels would have been insane. But we see him drop down and read Derice like an absolute book and get our first down up in main, and it looks like our first pain res over at a hook at 1 is gonna be nice and early for Angels. A very good start from him as Oracle look to try and answer back from this very, very strong start from Angels, as we see a lot of progress over on mid-gen, and we see V1 greet Angels with a flashlight, just letting them know where he is, who does take a tag through the pallet to Shaq, and gets hit by the UVX as well, and Angels opts to leave as he feels that V1 might be baiting him away for someone to get the unhook, and his instincts were correct. And we see Derice get pulled by Ward, who is in trouble, Derice, as they have not made it out of that area, as we see Ward with a very, very good body block from the unknown, but with TP set up everywhere, that's something that isn't as effective as other killers body blocking, as we see Angels just insta TP exactly to where he was, and UVX down Derice, who is back on the same hook again. But Oracle, in that time, managed to pop 2 gens, which is very, very good considering the pain res and eruption that would have gone off. Don't know if that gen popped before or didn't, but we see a Ward just not make it to the pallet and get picked up as we look to utilize our agitation, or not to utilize our agitation, just to quickly hook Ward, I believe, to go back and get that tunnel out on Derice, who manages to get healed up in time, but does take a hit through the pallet. Unfortunate from Derice. Back down to injured health state, as Angels will be looking to get Derice out of the trial as quickly as possible, preferably with 3 gens remaining. As he's still chasing Darius, who's managed to make a lot of distance and make it all the way up to the statue. But does get tagged there by the UVX, which was pretty unavoidable, as we are going to be taking this chase in the statue area with Angels holding the UVX. Oh, the UVX just run out just as the second UVX hit, as we see Ace with the double body blocking and taking a hit for Darius. Very, very good teamwork there from Oracle to keep Darius alive, as a lot of time there was wasted from Angels with no kill onto Darius, who managed to get rid of his UVX as well, as we see Shack Pallet there dropped, as Darius is doing very well just to survive, just to stay alive in this trial, as we see Ward coming in to take another hit, but unfortunately not going to be helping in this situation, as the unknown UVX just allowing him to get that down from a distance, as we see a flashbang coming from Ward, unfortunate not to get the kill up, and we see Darius exit, and Angel's getting his first kill at 2 gens, as a gen just popped before hooking Darius. Now all survivors injured. They're going to be needing a reset here. Will Angels be able to find out and know where that reset will happen, as we see it does come in from Ace and Claude. Maybe that was just a double reset. Maybe Ward is popped into the lone wolf, which it looks like he might be. We do see pools of blood and scratch marks heading over the statue. Looks like he's decided to hop in a locker, as he could have head on or he could not. That's one of those situations where you're either a genius or you perceive to be looked like a fool, which in this case was the latter, but those plays are very high risk, high reward, as Ward is going to be on his second hook stage, hooked up by 7. And Angel's just doing some chores, taking away some pallets from this map, which has lost quite a lot of resources from Oracle's point of view. Does TP back to the hook. Very, very strong game sense just to be able to know when Ward is being pulled, as he does manage to get both of them with the UVX and then does down Ward instantly afterwards. And this is going to be the second kill at 2 gens from Angels. Very well played there, just to have the instincts to know exactly when they're pulling. It's almost like you can sense it. As we see V1 getting attacked again there by the UVX, and Eruption coming in to slow down that progress. And here you can just see the utility of Unknown being able to teleport from one side of the map to the other. Makes it very, very strong to be able to pressure gens no matter the distance between them. And we do see some scratch marks, which is going to look like Blazy on the Ace is somewhere in main, as we do see him vault down, get UVX'd and hit, which is exactly what Angels will want. As we see him read him like a book as well, trying to lock a Duke, the UVX, but unfortunately not coming off. And here comes in the agitation, allowing Angels to get his 3rd out of 4 Painless hooks, which is looking really, really rough for Oracle. It's looking like a 4K2, 4K1 at best, just because of Angels' game sets. Really, he could sense V1s nearby. He's, if he hits something like that, that's just insane. But he has very much got this game in the grasp of his hand. He has almost full control over it at this point. It's looking very, very rough from Oracle's point of view. Not many options left for V1 and Blazy really to try and turn this around. As Angels is just going to be keeping an eye out for V1 moving in for the unhook, who he believes was on the bottom side of the map, and is keeping a close eye out to see if he crosses to try and get that unhook, or maybe he just tries to complete a gen. As there is no progress on 6. So it's looking like he's... I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. He has a master plan. As we do still have that unfortunate audio bug on the Unknown Spectator, as we hear not the chase music, but the I'm on the hook music, which is a bit disappointing, as the Unknown music's pretty cool to have in chase. The V1 is a ghost at the moment. He is one with the shadows. We do not know where he is. We have opted to search the basement, which just tells you how good of a job V1 is doing hiding. Whether he has a master plan or he has a plan that is not mastered remains to be unknown. Yes, that's an unknown joke. As the unknown plan becomes known, and it looks like we are going to see Blazy die on hook, and V1 is invisible. As doink, there goes hatch closed, and now it's just playing for style points, as I believe hatches. Escapes from this point on don't really mean much, so maybe V1's went to get a drink and has not returned yet, or ordered a pizza and is just sitting there eating it while watching the game, because he is nowhere to be seen. I would love to know what V1's perspective is right now. He must be one with the shadows, or he has just been AFK, really. There's, maybe he is AFK. As I'm sure Angels is quite puzzled on what's going on. But we do see progress on that gate, so he was not AFK. He did have a master plan, as we see him get grabbed from the locker, and Angels wrapping this up. Very well played with a 4K2, I believe. So we will be back in a short while for the reverse fixture to see who will take this second set and move on into the third and final set after that. So stick around and find out. And welcome back to the second trial of the second set, as we see Ward from Team Oracle over on the Unknown with a very sweet and tasty looking weapon. And we see Cynic on Survivor, who need a 4K1 to win, and Ward on Team Oracle needs a 4K3 to win this set after the first set was a tie. As we see a bit of a different build from Ward here, opting for Pop instead of Agi. which we'll find out if one becomes more important than the other, as we see Ultra playing very well there to drop the pallet, avoid the hit and avoid the UVX, but end up getting tagged, but buying some valuable seconds for his team as he manages to dodge another UVX, but Ward reading him like a book, as Angels did to our survivors in the last trial, knowing exactly where he was heading and meeting him there. As we see Ward getting his first pain res without Agi, as it looks like he's got some pretty good RNG on his pain res hooks. They're very nicely spread out through the mid map, as we do get pain res on that gen top mid, and we do kick the mid gen as well with pop. So a lot of gem regression there. Very, very nicely done by Ward. A very strong start from him, which he will need, as it's going to be tough to get a 4k3 in this scenario. And also a very nice place to hook Ultra, as he can patrol these middle gens, which are very popular and important to get done first. Maybe not as important in this game because of the win con, but still nonetheless important, as we do kick another gen, which provides us that eruption, and we do see Ultra get unhooked before hitting second, I believe, and making his way back to main. Ward looking to read him again, as we see the first gen pop, and he reads him again with an excellent teleport, almost on top of his head, and back on the same hook he goes, as the first gen has already been popped by Team Cynic. But another pop charge going to be given to Ward here, as he's looking to see, and yeah, we'll use it on a gen at top mid, as I'm not sure where the first gen was that popped. I believe it was towards the bot side, but just due to the win con, I mean, they only need to, well, they need to pop 4 gens actually, but because of Ward's win con, he has to be very, very, very high pressure, high intensity to stop these survivors from popping all these gens, really, as we see Angels coming in there for the trade on Ultra, as Ultra is going to be looking to just stay alive and try and do almost what D-Rice does, as he does get the stun on Ward, which will give him a lot of distance, as the second gen of the match does pop over at main, as you see Ward, and a third gen popping as well over towards main, as Ultra has made his way all the way down to the statue and has a fair bit of distance here to play with, as we see Ward not commit and realizing that the win con has passed, and that now it's opting for just to make this a tie, really, as he can't really afford to chase anyone. He really just needs to stop any gem progression, which is going to come from his pain res and eruption value, so he really needs to get it down here as quick as possible, as we see him teleport back towards Ultra, just hoping to get any down on anyone at the moment would do wonders for him because of that eruption on those gens. So we see Ultra play it very well around that pallet and dodging the UVX as well, but it looks like he will make it to this pallet as well, as the 4th gen does pop. So that is this set win condition met by Team Cynic, and Ward getting his down and kill finally on Ultra at 1 gen over at the statue, as That was very well played by Cynic. Their gen efficiency is very, very impressive, really, just to be able to pop all those gens and stay on the progression, really. Obviously for Ward, not ideal, only being able to get one survivor on hook and not being able to utilize pop and eruption as much as possible, just not being able to get that down when it was needed to stop that gen from popping. But now it's kind of, oh, very stylishly done by Angels, vaulting into the killer, which would only work against the unknown to dodge that UVX, but does end up taking a hit for his troubles. But as we see Ward getting fancy with it, trying some UVX flicks, as we still don't have any chase music. It's ASMR unknown time, as Lusty takes a slap over towards the statue, and that's the final gen, which I believe was popped over at 1. We see Lusty looping at a pallet. Oh my goodness, what a lunge from Ward. I did not think he would hit that, but he proved me wrong, as we see Lusty being taken over to the Painless hook. Obviously not going to affect the game at the moment, and that's a 2 out from Team Cynic, who will take this second set. So after a short break, we'll be back with Wesker on Wreckers, I believe, so stick around and we will return shortly. And welcome back to our third and final set over on Wreckers Yard with Ward from Team Oracle on the Albert Whisker, as we see him go for Corrupt, Painres, Eruption and Pop, so the same perks that he ran on Unknown in the previous set. As, ooh, unlucky from Ward as he nearly catches Angels there on that pallet with a nice bound flick. As, yeah, not too common to see Wesker on Wreckers, but Ward knows what he's doing. He's a very nice hit there onto Wancy, as we see him opt for Egg, and I believe that's a Medallion, which makes them throw, which makes him throw the survivors further. As, wow, we just see Ward using Wesker to the best of his ability, and that is a very quick down onto Wancy, and not going to be a pain in his, but he will get pop off on this gem with high progression over at 11 to stop or prevent and delay the first gen from being popped in this match. So we do hear Shack being worked on, which I believe is either done straight away or not done, but there we go. We see Wancy getting unhooked immediately, and the FTB coming in from Angels to try and stop the tunnel out, and boom, there goes Eruption, and there goes our second hook onto Angels, who will be getting the pain res treatment over at a hook by 2. And this is a very strong start from Ward on Wreckers, as he already has 2 hooks from 2 different survivors and is managing to put a lot of pressure on these gens, as we see a little shimmy there not coming. I'm not sure what that was about. Maybe a little bug about the trying to kick the gen, but once again we see Cynic opting to oh hello, we see it opting to unhook Angels, who is still broken, and there goes Shack, as we see something else buggy happen from our Wesker point of view. Not sure if that was a user input error or game error, but anyway, I digress. We are patrolling the map. Wow, that gen is close to being popped as he sees the ace who has pre-ran over away from the gen, who looks like he's making his way to 4. Who manages to pre-drop that pallet. Unlucky, looks like he got stuck a bit there on the car, not able to land a hit on the ace, who's able to make his way around the other side of the tile and opting to leave there, as he does kind of have the luxury at the moment of finding and going for whoever he wants, as he manages to get the optimal and most effective way to play Wesker by throwing a survivor into the corner of the map so that they are completely dead zoned and just have to opt to die in the corner. But we do see 2 gens come through before he was able to get the pain res onto Wancy. Wow. Oh my goodness. That was very, very well played by Team Cynic to dodge that big bullet known as pain res, which would have significantly slowed down their gen progression, but both gens managed to get popped, which I believe were the only real 2 gens with high progress on, which I believe were the gens over at 7 and 11 potentially. But despite this amazing start from Ward and the amount of gen slowdown he's managed to have, they're still able to pop 2 gens at 3 hooks, I think. But it's looking like Wancy will be getting confirmed a hook stage from Ward, as he opts to just kick the gen and not commit to anyone, as he knows that they're going to be coming in for the unhook right now, as we see Lusty making a trade for Wancy. Just giving her a chance, him a chance to get away and stay alive in this match, as he makes it to the jungle gym over at 3. And we see Ward trying to use that egg, as he does catch Wancy. He did have life, it looked like, but not going to be enough to get away from Ward, as he does catch the Wancy and gets his first kill at 3 gens. Meanwhile, Lusty has been able to be picked off the floor, and we have found Angels, who, oh my goodness, I don't think Ward was expecting to fly through that pallet quite like he did. But he did fly, and fly he did, as we see Angels playing very, very well, just to prevent the first hit and getting the stun, as he faked to go in and drop the pallet and just continue to keep running so that the Wesker lunge would not reach him, but he does end up taking a hit over to the broken truck, as Ward unfortunately gets caught on the truck and isn't able to catch him with that bound, but closing in on Angels now, who is at this tile, who, we see Skinny Albert slip through and not quite catch Angels, who has done an admirable job in this chase and has, I believe, bought a lot of time. But there we see Ward with the insta bounds on to Angels, which just really gives no chance for the survivor to react to the Wesker. But very, very nicely done from Ward, who is going to hook Angels for his second hook. So still 2 stacks of pain res, but he does have pop, so it's just going to be a case of finding that gen and kicking it, which I believe there was another one that had more progress, as we see. I believe that's Lusty coming in for the insta-hun hook as soon as he has bounded away, and Angels using the spray can to cleanse the Ouroboros. And also, is that second wind? To become healthy again. Not going to last long though, as he is thrown into a dumpster. and is back to be infected with the Ouroboros, who nice mind game double back there from Ward to get the down onto Angels, who, let's not forget, I think they are NA and Oracle are EU, so there is a bit of ping to come into consideration there in terms of how they play, but there we see Angels dead at 2 gens, as Ward does find Lusty, who takes a slap, or rather a grab, minus the throw, over to 11, who does drop it and uses the firecrackers, which have been heavily nerfed and not quite as useful as they used to be in making dodges, as all very nicely done there by Ward, to be able to bound and catch Lusty round the broken truck, as over in the distance by the bottom side of the map we see Ultra pop the 4th gen. So despite Ward's very, very well played part, how did that not throw him in? Even with the medallion, that still didn't catch him. As we see, oh, he doesn't trade. He gets the unhook minus a health state, as we see Lusty using his degree in Body Block University to stop Ultra getting hit, who does end up taking it down to prevent that hit, and we see Ward finding Ultra, so that is going to be 4k at 1 gens for Ward, which is, I feel like, a below or average result. I'm not sure, but we'll see how that pans out over at the reverse fixture with Team Cynic over on Killer, to see if they can match or do better than Oracle on their performance on the Killer side. So once our survivors have made their way back into the lobby or been found, as we see Ward going on a Easter egg hunt for Lusty, who could be anywhere at this point. Maybe he has tenacity, maybe he doesn't. If he has tenacity, I'm gonna be honest, he is never gonna be found, because that perk is you essentially make no grunts of pain and can crawl and recover. So it's he could be over at 9 by now. He could be in the basement by now. He could be anywhere. But maybe he doesn't have tenacity. Maybe he just crawled towards a corner. But it could prove to be... Actually, it will not matter, because... maybe it will matter because it is a fresh bleed out. But it will just still count as hooks anyway. But for the sake of time, maybe it would be preferred for Lusty to be found. Obviously we don't have the idle crows, so we will not know where he is. And I believe Ward is just kind of accepted that we're not going to be finding Lusty today. Also on Ace, so pretty quiet survivor, one of the quietest in the game. So he's not going to be found, it looks like, as he might crawl to hatch, he might not. Oh, he did crawl to hatch, as we get a lovely Mori from Wesker in the Stars skin. So after a quick break, we will be back with the last and final trial, so stick around and we'll be right back. And welcome back for our, what could be our final trial here. We have Angels over on Wesker from Team Cynic, who has already found Ward up on the hill, who did drop down. And we see the same build coming through from Angels. which is pretty standard. Who does have different add-ons though. He's gone for the Jewel Beetle and the Medallion, so no egg, as he tries to throw Angels into the corner, not succeeding the first time, but the second time succeeding, and it's looking like Ward is not going to make it to the pallet. And here we have our first hook, which will be pain res. Wow, that's some very nicely spread out hooks across sort of the middle of the map area. But very interesting to not go with egg. I know there is, you either love it or hate it egg, and it looks like Angels is not vibing with it and has chosen the Jewel Beetle and the Medallion, so looking to throw those survivors into the corner of the maps to try and essentially get those 2 quick downs, as we see a nice little bunny hop over to the other side of Shack. And seeing V1 on the bill coming in. Not chasing, just kicking, proccing Eruption over on the gen at sort of 8. Top 8. And it's looking like he's confirming this second stage on Ward, as we see the first gen pop over at 10. As we see 2 survivors coming in for the unhook, and Angels getting auto-aimed on to Ward, who was on the hook, so very fortunate there for Oracle, as he does vault the pallet with his bound, but gets blinded, and does take out Shack, as he does throw V1 into a wall. Not looking to commit to anyone specifically just yet. I think just trying to disrupt and cause chaos amongst this survivor team. Nearly all of them injured at this point, as he spots someone over at the fun bus, and unfortunately not getting the bunny hop from the hill, but successfully getting Ward, who tries the sneaky slow vault over the pallet, which on their ping is just more of a just send it or don't send it type of pallet, as the second gen of the game does pop. And the third gen of the game does pop, which means currently, I mean, the win con for Angels is 4k2, so it's not looking at good for Angels, but does find Derice with a nice bound, not looking to commit as all survivors injured, and just making his way back to hook to ensure no one's coming in for the pull onto Ward. But there we do get the bunny hop on the hill, which buys Wesker mega distance on his bounds. So pretty nice spawn there for the hill for Angel's point of view. Can use that to get around the map even quicker than Wesker already can. And also provides a bit of a viewpoint for him to see who is coming in for the saves, as we do see Blazy and Derice coming in to get this unhook, which they successfully do on Ward. But not without Derice going down, as we see Angels trying to tunnel Ward and become the first of our survivors to be out this game, as he does get thrown into a very hard looking tree. And there we have it. There is our first kill of the game. Angel's still doing a good job, still fighting the fight, as the bunny hop there makes him absolutely fly past Shack, not being able to bound into Shack. As we see Angels predicting the V1 dodge and just holding his power to successfully grab V1, and yet utilizing that pop, dropping him by the hook just to prevent that gen getting any more progress, as the gen also, I believe, gets pain resed, as we heard the entity particles, or whatever you want to call them, on the gen proc, I think, after 4 kicks or regressions. So that gen is basically back at 0. And with no progress on Shaq, it looks like there's only 2 other possible gens that could have any sort of progress on. So Angels has done very well to make this an even closer game, judging from the strong start that Team Oracle had, being able to pop those 3 gens in quick succession. As I believe Angels is now just trying to find the reset, which does come in from Blazy and Derice, but Derice is going to have to cleanse the, and there we go, you'll get the instinct on Derice, who is found, but does get the cleanse off, as Angels' game sense kicking in, knowing that Blaze is going to be going in for the unhook. There's lovely bunny hop there. Off the hill for extra distance, as we see him back on a V1, sorry, who has just been freshly unhooked. But Angels is looking to put him straight back on that hook as quick as possible, as there is pretty much little to none gen progress at the moment, as all survivors being able to, or having to go in for the unhooks, as we see V1's attempt at a head-on, which failed on this occasion, which is quite difficult to pull off, especially against killers that know it's coming and taking ping into consideration. That slight little delay will have its effect, but we do see a gen over at 1 with a lot of progress on it. As Blazy has been cranking, as we see that smash hit value as he zooms across, and without egg he's not going to be able to hold that angle. So Blazy does escape scratch free, hit free from Angels, but he does get his pop, I believe, onto that gen. And now we have case of trying to prevent that wing con gen from being popped from Team Oracle, as I believe gen number 3 has been worked on, I believe, by the ace. So Derice is somewhere and could be working on a gen, as we see Blazy taking a hit, not quite making it through the window without getting a little slap from our Wesker. And I wonder where Derice is. Oh, speak of him, there he is. As we see him, I believe, trying to go and work on 1, but does get the stun. Very well played there on Angels, but Angels, obviously, with the bound, with the power of Wesker, the Ouroboros does land and secure a hook on Derice, who has not been pain resed yet, but with pop, I believe that will be sufficient enough. And hooking right next to the gem with the most progress has put Angels in a very good position, so it's looking like a tie from this 3rd set, which means we will not be stopping here. We will be replaying, I believe, the 1st set in order to find out who will be taking and going through from this quarter-final. Oh, it is not a tie, I have been told. We do have a winner. But we will just be waiting for these survivors to eventually come out on hook, as we see Angels doing some hug tech shenanigans on Alberto Whisker. as both survivors do end up dying, and that will be it for our third set of this quarter final.